Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make some more bezel art today. We're going to go ahead and do Mortal Kombat this time. Okay. Now, if you have the official Mr. Do's MAME Mortal Kombat bezel art, let's turn it down a little bit here. It's going to look like this. Okay? And if you make it full screen instead of cropped, you get this. And you can see what they were going for. They were trying to replicate all of the artwork that came on the actual monitor, and you know, it's just kind of scanned in there, you know what I mean? But it's not a good way to play because this doesn't look very good. So let's go ahead and get to work making our own. Alright, now I'm going to put the link to this in the description area, but Metalzoic's Mega Bezel Pack, his OneDrive account. Let's go ahead and sort it by name because he has so many. And I'm going to sort it by ascending. And then I'm going to scroll down to about where I think the M's are. It takes a little while for it to load up because he's got so many ROMs. And what we're going to be looking for is MK for Mortal Kombat. MK. Right click it, download. You'll see in the bottom left it's going to be downloading. Alright, it's ready. Let's go ahead and close that. Let's go ahead and extract it. See what he's got here. Okay. Take a peek in here. Okay, and this is what we got. Now, these are configuration any settings for Rocket Launcher front end. So this video is not for people using Rocket Launcher. If you're using Rocket Launcher, this is ready to go. You just drop it in. But we're using a regular MAME, so we're going to delete these configuration any's. We don't need them. Now there's two of these. We don't need two. We only need one. They're the same thing. It's something to do with how Rocket Launcher handles it or something. Okay, and you'll see he's got a couple images here, but they're JPEG images. All right. And their dimensions are pretty big, 2560 by 1440. Okay, now these JPEG images don't handle alpha transparency, so this black area would just look like black. It would cover up the game screen. Okay, you wouldn't be able to see the game. Now in Rocket Launcher, I guess these can act as a background, then the game screen gets put on top of that, and then this bezel can be put on top of that. But for traditional MAME, that's not going to work. We need to change these to PNGs, and PNGs are the only kind of, you know, one that you can do that's going to have the transparency. These three over here are PNGs, and they do have transparencies. Let's go ahead and start with this one first. So we're going to go ahead and open up GIMP, okay? And GIMP is free. Alright, I don't have Photoshop, so I'm not going to cover how to do this in Photoshop, but anybody can just grab GIMP from Google, and there wasn't any bloatware or adware in there, so I can vouch for it. Alright, so let's go ahead and drag this in over here. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is I'm going to want to go ahead and change its size. So I'm going to right click on it. Okay, actually you can do it over here in the layers area. Just right click on it, go down to scale layer, and let's go ahead and make it 1920 by 1080. Okay, and if you click down here, it'll automatically make that 1080. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and let it scale. Okay, now I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go edit, copy. Okay, now right click, edit, paste as new image. Okay, don't need the old image anymore. Get rid of that. Okay, now we have the 1920 by 1080 image. Now we need to have a transparent layer. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit our select tool up over here on the top left, and let's go ahead and select this black area and just drag it all the way. Highlight that black. Now I think that's good enough. If you need to make adjustments, you can. I believe we got it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to add a layer of transparency right now. Layer, transparency, add alpha channel. Okay, now I'm going to cut away the black. Right click, edit, cut, and there's the transparency. And I don't see any black left, so I think we got it. Okay, so that's good. So we can go ahead and go to the next step, that little bezel. Alright, this bezel right here. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect this area actually real quick. So just click anywhere. There, it's deselected. Drag our bezel in. Okay, now you see you have bezel horizontal right here. So I'm going to go ahead and right click it. Okay, and I'm going to go scale layer on the bezel. And we're going to change the width a little. Let's try, I don't know, 1400 or something for width. Scale. I'm pretty close. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and get the scale tool that you can see here. Click that. And if you click on this, now you'll see you get a little yellow boxes here that'll highlight yellow, you know what I mean? So you can go ahead and get it the right height, you know what I mean, all the way up to the top. Okay. And all the way to the bottom. Okay. And then make sure these side pieces are about right. Okay. Just trying to cover up that transparency area. Go ahead and hit scale and let it do its thing. Okay, looks clean over here. Looks clean over here. Okay, take the select tool, deselect. Alright, now we have this in place. Alright, so now we just got to create our lay file. But before we do that, I'm going to save this. So let's go ahead and change it to the PNG we need it to be. Alright, export as, and then I'm going to call it art1. How about that? And we're going to save it in the Mortal Kombat folder. Okay, make sure it says it's a PNG image. Alright, it needs to say .png up there too, very important. Export. Okay, and then I check these boxes. Okay, export. Alright, now you'll see I have one over here, art1. There we go. We don't even need this one anymore, so I'm just going to delete that one. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to need is a .lay file to tell MAME how to lay that down. So, you know that Mortal Kombat that I showed you at the very beginning of the video, the typical official MAME artwork, we can just use that really. It has a .lay in there. You know, all we need is just any old .lay. So go into your MAME, go into your artworks folder, you know, just pull out one. Now, it really doesn't matter which one, so I'm just going to pull out anything. Here we go, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition or something. Copy the lay folder. It's always called default.lay. Copy, okay, and then I'm going to paste it in here. There, now we have a .lay folder. Let's go ahead and open it up and take a look at what we got. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is change it to the name of the ROM. In this case, it's MK. Next thing we're going to do is start to look at these elements. Now, element name. Doesn't matter what the element name is, it's just a reference for the .lay itself. But it can't have spaces. It can have an underscore, but it can't have any spaces. View 1's fine. I'm going to leave that alone. Image file for view 1. Art1, right? Now I always name my arts Art1, Art2, so that's why this random lay I grabbed just already happens to say the name of mine. But if it says something else in here, you need to change it to the one you're working on. This is called Art1 PNG. This is called Art1 PNG. Good to go. Next element. Now I don't have any further like art files I'm going to do right now. I just fixed this one. We can do the other ones later. So we're going to do this, and that's it, right? So then now we're just going to go down out of the elements area. Okay, cut those out for now. All the elements are out. So now we're into the view area. View name equals, and then this is just what it's going to say when you hit tab when you get in the main. It'll just say artwork 1 or something, whatever you want to call it, but no spaces. Okay. Alright, and then the screen index. This tells you where the game screen is going to be and how big it's going to be. Okay. Now if you're not sure about that, go ahead and open up your artwork. Alright, and get your select tool and just think where the screen is going to need to go. Okay, now it's going to be all the way up at the top, as you can see here. You're basically covering the transparency area, so get it all the way up at the top, okay, all the way to the bottom, and then about as far over as you need to get all that transparency covered. Okay, and if you need to, you can make adjustments like this. Alright, and you can check it here. This needs to say 0 for y coordinates, so let's go ahead and make it say 0. Okay, so what we've got is 294 x coordinate, 0 y coordinates. So for our screen, where it tells the game screen where to be, okay, screen index, we need 294 here and 0 here. So let's change this to 94. Okay, and then the height and the width, you know what I mean? So basically this whole selected area has a specific height and width, and it shows right here. Isn't that handy? 1335 by 1076. It really needs to be 1080, so maybe this isn't all the way at the bottom. Let's go ahead and pull that down just a hair and see if we can get it to 1080. 1081, 1079, come on. Maybe I can just click it this way. Hopefully that didn't shrink the top part. Yeah, it still says 0 up there. Alright, and then the 1335 is good. So 1335 by 1080. Screen index. Here it is. Just need to change this to say 1335. Okay, 1080. Alright, now we don't have anything else we're working with right now. So let's go ahead and delete all these other things down here, because this was a complicated one I was working on that had several that you could go through. We don't need anything else as far as like all these view things and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But the last thing we had was the one telling it where the screen is, but we do need to have the one that tells where the artwork goes, and that's going to be the one that's called view 1. So that's this one. We don't need screen mask for this example. I'm not using screen mask element, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, I'm using the artwork here, view 1. That represents art 1 PNG. The bounds of the artwork are always 0, 0, because the artwork starts at the very top left corner, you know, 0, 0. The very bottom right corner will be 1920 by 1080. So the bounds are always going to be correct there, and then the size is already correct, so you don't need to worry about that anymore. Alright, and then all this other stuff would be if you had multiple artworks to choose from when you hit tab, and I don't have that at this point, so we don't need any of that stuff. Okay, go ahead and delete it. Okay, now it's gonna need to say view here, so you've got, you know, this is how it looks. The name of the ROM, MAME layout version 2, the element for an art file ending with element. Alright, the view name, when you hit tab, you know what I mean, and then the screen index for the position of the actual game screen ending in screen, and then you have an element to go with this one, alright, and that's the element of the artwork itself. Alright, and the artwork is under view 1, which is art1 PNG, and the coordinates and size of that, and then view at the end to call it a day. So go ahead and hit file, hit save, close that up. Alright, this should be good. Okay, so we can go ahead and take a look here. Art1, make sure it looks good, because I like to do this to make sure actually this. See this little white area? I have a feeling, see, this good thing I double checked. Looks like our bezel needs to go out a little bit further on the bottom and a little bit further on the sides. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at our bezel element. Let's make sure I'm unselected over here. Okay, bezel element, scale layer. Okay, get our little scaling tool here, click on it. Okay, it's just to be safe, because I saw that little white area and that made me suspicious. Let's just grow it out just a hair. Okay, and on the bottom just a hair. Yeah, now I can see that little extra transparency that's hiding down there. Aha, go ahead and cover that up right there. Okay, and that might be better. So let's go ahead and bezel, yep, scale. Okay, don't see anymore. Let's go ahead and export and see, and let it overwrite and see if we see anything this time. Okay, export, replace. Yep. Okay, now let's take a look at it. Alright, there's still some white area. I don't know what that is. Maybe we should go a little further. It's kind of fishy, you know what I mean? Looks like we just need to drop it down just a tad more. And the sides look like they're just gonna have a white shine. See that little white slit? I guess that's just the artwork of the bezel itself. It does have a little white slit, but I would want to go down just a hair more. So let's go ahead and make sure we get all the way down as far as we can go. Okay. Alright. Export as. Just keep on clicking. Keep on clicking. Keep on clicking. Alright, let's take a look now. Yeah, see, no more white area down there. See, that's why we do these things. That's why we check. Alright, so now we're done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. Close our art program. Okay. And you're not going to see these ones in the tab, because I didn't fix those yet and then put them into the lay. All I got is fixed this with the bezel included and the transparency included, and put the code into the lay. So this will show up when we hit the tab key, and let's see if it turned out okay. So we need to go ahead and put this into our artwork folder. So open up our MAME folder, Go to our artwork folder. Now it doesn't have to be zipped. Alright, if you have a MK zipped in there, like right here, this is that Mr. Do's one that I showed you at the beginning of the video. This new one that's unzipped will overwrite that one. The one that's unzipped is the one that gets looked at first. Okay? So let's go ahead and open up MAME. Okay, Mortal Kombat. Check that volume. Oh boy, come on. Alright, and there you have it. See, there's our bezel. And if you hit tab and you go to video options and you go to view, you can go full screen and look, it's the same. Crop full, it's the same, okay? So it doesn't matter, okay? So that means that you're never gonna have some weird ugly stuff hidden in the background that looks amateur. And if you save the screenshot, alright, it'll save that. You know what I mean? It'll save your nice bezel. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if I've got mine set up right. Let's hit F12. Mine might not be set up to save the screenshot correctly. Alright, now let's go to Snaps. MK. Where's my MK one? Alright, this is the one I just saved. Yeah, it's not meant to save. This one over here has something I did earlier, but this is the latest thing I just took a snapshot of. And I wanted to include the full bezel art. There's a way to do that. Just gotta set it up right. So let's figure out how to make MAME take the full snapshot. Default game options, miscellaneous, snapshot view. I think it needs to be internal. Okay, I think this needs to be on auto, and I think crop artwork needs to be off. Hit apply, hit OK. Now let's try to take a snapshot. Okay. Alright, snapshot. Oops, didn't want a snapshot of a black screen. Let's get the select screen or something. Or let's get the character select screen. Okay, I took a snapshot. Now let's check that snapshot folder. Alright, MAME, snaps, MK. And it automatically took a weird size. It tried to get it, but it stretched it. So let's look at those settings again. Alright. Default game options. Alright, miscellaneous. Internal. Standard. Apply. It's probably that auto select snapshot size. We'll find out here in a second. Turn that down. Alright, snapshot. Leave. Check it out now. If you hit standard, it doesn't include the side art. So let's see. Default game options. Internal. And then change the size to something else. Oh, I gotta hit apply somewhere. Okay. Here we go. Alright, let's say 1920 by 1080. Watch, that'll only do the game art though. Probably. Alright. Trying to get that apply button back. Apply, okay. Alright, let's try again. Snapshot. There we go, but it's not the right, is it? Let's take a look. Yeah, I guess that's right. Doesn't look that tall. Is that 1920 by 1080? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay, so to make that your snapshot, all you gotta do is name it 000. Okay. Rename 0000. 4 zeros. Okay. Now, in your game list here, if you go up and down. Oh, come on. Snapshot. I was in the cabinet view. And Mortal Kombat. There it is. So now you can even have a proper looking snapshot with HLSL effect with the full bezel. You can see it in all of its glory there, and Mortal Kombat's done. However, there were more pieces of artwork in here, and I know this video is going to be long, but I kind of feel like I should do another one. The process for doing this one would be exactly the same, because it's a JPEG to start out with, and it's really big. So I'd change the size to 1920 by 1080, and then I'd go ahead and add an alpha layer transparency, and then I would select this giant area here and hit cut, and then you'd see the checkerboard, and you have the transparency, and then I would drag the bezel in and save it as a PNG, and then the lay file would basically be the same, so it wouldn't take that long. Let's go ahead and do it real quick, just because, I mean, maybe you didn't catch it on the first go, and you really want to follow along and make sure you understood the process. So okay, let's just go ahead and do it real quick. So let's drag this in here. Okay, first thing we want to do is right click here, change the size, 1920 by 1080. Okay, alright, scale. Now I want to get it out of here because I don't want it to still have all this crap around the edges, so I want to go edit, copy, alright, and then edit, paste as new image. Okay, and then get rid of the messy one. Okay, now here we go, full image. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is right click and go layer, add the transparency one, layer, transparency, add alpha channel. Okay, and then what we need to do is get our select tool out and select the black area like we did before. Okay, get that black area selected, and if you need to check it, you can wiggle it around like that, make sure you got it. Wiggle it around like this, make sure you got it. Looks like I got it. Okay, this side. Okay, now I'm going to right click in here, edit, and go cut. Now we see our transparency. Okay, now we're going to get our bezel in here. So not that one. Here we go, the bezel one. We're going to go ahead and drag that in here. I really should have saved the resizing of it earlier, remember? So anyways, select tool needs to be clicked somewhere. See how it's kind of highlighting something still? So just click in a blank space once, so it's deselected that. Alright, bezel, right click, scale layer. 1400 was close. Actually, we can cheat. I remember how big our bezel was. Bezel was, that's not about this one, 1335, 1080. I cheated. Okay, 1335. 1335. Looks like we end up warping it later to be taller. Alright, scale. Alright. And we got our bezel selected, and we're going to go scale layer. Okay, we're going to get our scale tool, click on it, make it taller. Okay, and remember last time there was some bit hiding down there at the bottom. So I'm going to make my window a little bigger. I don't want that little bit hiding at the bottom this time. All the way down. Okay. I don't want anything accidentally showing. Okay, and then get rid of that transparency here, all the way up to the top of Liu Kang's head there. It's hard to see. That white line's kind of in the way, isn't it? Let's go a little extra wide just in case, huh? Same thing over here. Get rid of all the checkerboard, cover it up. A little extra wide maybe just in case. Oh. Seems like that's good. Hit scale. That should work out. I would think so. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and export it. So file, export as, and then save to the Mortal Kombat folder. I'm going to call this one Art 2. Okay. PNG, export, check the boxes, export. Alright, let's take a look at it now. It's hiding behind here somewhere. This one, Art 2. Where's this one? Where'd it go? Did I not save it in the right place? I don't think I saved it in the right place. Yeah, I must not have saved it in the right place. Let's do it again. File. Falling asleep over here. Export as. Desktop. Okay, MK. Double click. Art 2. Art 2. There it is. Okay, so the default lay just actually, remember last time we took a look at it and we found mistakes? So let's take a look at it. Looks like we got a little white line right there. Didn't go far enough over on the right side. Looks like I can maybe go a little lower and a little to the right. So let's go ahead and do that really fast. Okay, so all we got to do is make sure we're on a scaling tool, click somewhere, and I want to go a little lower and a little bit to the right. I think this ought to do it. Let it scale in. Okay, alright, file, export as, and just keep clicking this time. Replace. Okay, now let's take a look at it. I think that's good. There's some white, but that's just always going to be there. You remember? That's just always going to be there. The little bit of white is part of the bezel itself, but it looks good now. I think I'm happy with that. Alright, so now we need to add it into our lay file. So we got our lay file here. Looks like we already had it open earlier. Okay, so we don't need two of them open. What we need to do now is add another element, another art element. So just copy this one. Okay, copy. Come down here. Okay, and paste it in. Paste. Alright, this one's going to be called View 2, Art 2. Okay, and then now we just need to make sure these settings were for Art 1. Okay, Art 2 is going to need its own little thing. Okay, so Art 1, you don't want to mess with its stuff. This whole section is for Art 1. It's already dialed in. What you need to do is kind of copy this whole little section. Okay, and then you come down here, give yourself a little space, and paste. Okay, and it's the same thing, so now you're going to change it to be 2. Alright, but these numbers might be a little different this time, because you know, no human's perfect, and I'm doing this by hand, right? So you need to check things. Your screen index, is it still going to be 1335 by 1080? Probably, you know what I mean? But let's just take a little peek just in case. Okay, so I'm going to get our select tool out, okay, and I'm going to select just the screen area. Alright, so let's go ahead and get it about where we think the end of our game screen should be, on both sides, just behind the tip of the bezel, and it seems to go all the way up to the very tippy top, which would be right there, and all the way down to the very bottom, which would probably be there. Okay, and the dimensions say 1373, and remember we want 1080, not 1082. Human error, right? This looks pretty good to me. Okay, 1373. Let's go back in here, check. This is artwork 2, the screen 1335. Over here it says 1373. So maybe this artwork is a little different, a little wider, a little more narrow than the other one. So let's just go ahead and make the correction. 73. See, that's why you check. 1080, that's fine. Alright, now that's for the screen, the game screen, but what about the bezel? Alright, and this is the artwork, right? The PNG includes the bezel. Some of them don't. So this one's going to be a little easier. But if you're ever doing one that has a third layer that's just the actual bezel as a separate floating layer, you're going to need that. We have it included in the artwork, so that makes our life a lot easier, because the artwork is always going to be 00 and then 1920 by 1080. Boom, done. Alright, bezel element makes you think this little piece of plastic, but bezel is actually the entire artwork. Alright, so now everything looks fine. Okay, so we're just going to hit File, Save. We can close it. We can close this. Okay, it's all done. And we need to replace the one we dropped in the artwork folder with this new one that has a second one set up to go, so it has 2 artworks ready to go. So let's go ahead and drop this in artwork. Hang on, I'm going to copy it instead of drop. Alright, drop that in artwork. Overwrite the other one. Okay, launch MAME, launch Mortal Kombat. Okay, now we should have a second one now. Go to video options, look, artwork 1, artwork 2. Alright, now the screen looks like I could have done it a little bit better. See the screen there, how there's a black area? So I'm trying to think what I did wrong on that one. Those dimensions, let's think about that. We've got it over to the right just a little bit too much. Let's fix that. Okay, so open it up. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and open this one up in GIMP. Okay. And let's figure out that screen. Get our .lay file open. Move this out of the way a little bit so we can see our .lay file. Okay, for the screen for artwork 2, 1373 width. Select tool. It looked like it just needed to be a little more over to the left. Maybe I didn't have it selected right when I looked at it. So let's just go ahead and try that again. Okay. Make sure this thing's all the way down, because there's always like a little space down there it likes to hide. Get this one all the way up at 0. Come on. Okay. And then if you select this area, it says 1380 by 1078 this time. And what did we have? We had 1373. Huh. Well, let's go up to 1380. Alright. But I know that X coordinate was wrong as well because it started too far to the right. So the one that says 294, that's got to be different. 270. Alright, let's try 270. Okay. Make sure. Oh, wait, hang on. Make sure. Yeah, it says 270 for that current position. It's got to be. That's where it is. Alright, 270. Remember, we don't make mistakes. We just make happy little accidents. Alright, file. And then save. Close. Close. Okay. Alright. So I've made the change. I'm going to open it back up, make sure. Yep, made the change. So now what I want to do is replace again into the artwork. Copy in there, overwrite. Okay, launch it again, see if we fixed it. Yep. There we go. See? Yeah, it's not that easy to do these things, you know. As you can see, it requires a little bit of patience, a little bit of tweaking, but you know, you can get it. It's doable, you know. And you know, in the end, you know, you can have a lot of fun and make your own stuff. Now, I don't have the time in this video to go over anymore really, because the video is starting to drag on. But I will, just as a little sneak peek, I will go ahead and show you some artwork that's a little more advanced that I had done earlier on my own time when I was learning how to do this. And I believe it was in Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. So let's go ahead and open that. Okay. Now this is a good example of the limits of what I can do basically. So let's go ahead and open up its artwork file. Okay. And look, there's 4 of them here. Alright, here's one. Kind of standard, but no bezel effect for those who like that, right? You get more screen real estate there, you know you're not getting none of your screen cut off. Full 1920 by 1080 size all overall. 1440 by 1080 screen, you know, nice. Second one, this one was experimental. Like, look up here where it's Street Fighter letters are just kind of hovering over the screen, and the box is peeking into the screen. Ryu's arm, just to see if I could do it. You know what I mean? It's kind of ugly, you know, it needs some work, but just as a test to see how it came out, you know. And here's a typical bezel one, like the ones we've been doing, you know. And then down here, this is one that's meant to kind of replicate the one you get from Mr. Do's arcade that everybody likes. But notice I'm in full mode, whereas Mr. Do's, you have to be in crop mode to see it like this. Because in Mr. Do's, if you go in full mode, you see all that control panel at the bottom and marquee at the top and all that craziness. But this way, my screen is still 1440 by 1080 screen and 16 by 9 ratio, 1920 by 1080 full artwork, right? You know, and I could take snapshot and all that, and it's not going to look weird. So I just like this style better. So anyways, you know, a lot of things you can do if you work. Oh, I want to show you another one, a really good one right before I go. Remember, I think I showed you a Ninja Turtles one in my last video? Look at this one. This one's an improvement. Look at that. Get the Konami logo on there and everything. Now this comes from Metalzoic, I believe, so I can't take the credit, but look at that bezel. That's a nice looking bezel. And remember in my last video, I didn't have that, and my artwork was missing on the sides. You know what I mean? You couldn't see that foot soldier over there or anything. So now it's just nice looking. You know, look how much better that looks. You know what I mean? So anyways, I think I'm going to end it there for today for this video, but there's multiple ways of doing this. What I showed you today was basically how to take one from Metalzoic's pack, alright, and then how to basically tweak the JPEGs so that they're PNG with transparency in the right size, and then put the bezel in with it so it's not so complicated, it's not a separate layer, okay, and then find out the screen size and go ahead and jot down all your .lay information. And if you don't get this part, like if you're not sure, just watch it slowly and carefully and see what I'm doing. Experiment on your own if you want. You could copy these if you want to copy mine, but just remember it has to be named the same thing, you know what I mean, as it relates to. Alright, the same as the ROM and all that kind of stuff. No spaces in here. And experiment, trial and error. And it would be the same thing if I had time to do these other ones. Same thing, same process. Like even for these ones that have some transparency. All it is you take it, you open it up in GIMP, you make sure the whole size is the size you like 1920 by 1080. This one already has transparency, so it's already going to be there. The only thing you need to do on this one is, if you want, you can add the bezel in by just dragging it in and resizing it, alright? And then telling the default .lay that you have another layer. Give it a name, point to it, and then figure out XY coordinates. The whole thing is easy. 00XY, 1920 by 1080. So the only thing you got to figure out is the actual screen, where your game screen is going to end up. And all you do is use a select tool to find out, drag it to where you think the screen should be, and then at the bottom left you see it tells you the X and Y coordinates, tells you the overall size of this selected screen area. Type that into the default lay, save, you're good to go, and boom, you'd have a third one, a fourth one. You can keep going, but this video is taking a long time. I might do more videos in the future. Alright, thanks. Have a good one.